Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.
So I think we've waited long enough. We can begin. Before we begin, Ronnie, are we in terms of recording? Ronnie?
Yeah, we are good.
All right. So today's webinar is intended to be an interactive webinar whereby we'll be having a web developer. He's a professional web developer. He will introduce himself. So I'm hoping that at the end of it, guys, you will have questions, you will have comments for him to address, because that's the whole point of this session. We want it to be as interactive as possible. So my Eric is just left. All right, just a minute. Yeah, he's just left. Okay.
How you guys?
Send me back on. Oh, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, sir.
Okay, my name is Charles.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I was just about to invite you actually. Hello, Charles. Okay. Charles? Charles, can you hear me? I don't know. Is it network on my end? Can you guys hear me? Anyone else speak or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg.
Are you getting me?
Yeah, Charles.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, thank God.
I'm
It
waiting.
was a network issue.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so can I start now?
Yeah, you can start and start introducing yourself so that at least we can get to know you better.
Okay, my name is Charles. Charles Kamonde. I'm a professional web developer. I work with Modern Techies, and today I'll be teaching you guys a thing or two when it comes to web development and design. Are you guys following?
Yeah, we expect to hear from you.
Okay, cool. So I will start with the basics, and then we go as we advance, and then you guys, if you have any questions, you can ask later. I have been assigned some time for this talk, so I'll try and I'll try and keep time.
Thank you.
Okay. So can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah. I'm seeing it.
Okay, so when it comes to web development and design, this is a field that began in the internet age, that is around the year 1995 going onwards, and it helps people be able to share their thoughts, files, and also documentation online so that other people from different areas of the world can also view your content from a device through a medium we call a browser. For example, Google Chrome, Firefox, Explorer, Edge, something of the sort. So basically, it's what you guys term as websites. So what is website? What is a website? A website is as simple as what you can see on the screen here. This is meet.google.com/ that one. So the website here is google.com. Some of the most prominent websites are google.com, facebook.com, twitter.com, and so on and so forth. So once you get a name, that is what people term as a domain name. So when it comes to web development, the first thing that you ask yourself, what should be the name of the website? So it could be google.com and so on and so forth. Just a minute. Hey, guys. A minute. So I hope you can hear me now. Sorry for that. So as you can see, the current website that we are using is meet.google.com. So this means this is the meet part is what you call a subdomain. Other popular subdomains of Google include drive.google.com, that is the Google Drive, photos.google.com. Okay.
Just a minute. Are you presenting something on your screen? Because we can't see.
You can't see my screen?
Is it maybe a presentation, a PowerPoint slide or something like that?
No, it's just a window of the participants in the meeting for now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's okay then.
Okay.
You can continue.
So I'm just, I'm showing you about the domain. This is what we call a domain. And what's a subdomain? This is what you call a subdomain. So websites are built on domains and subdomains, and as you can see, subdomains help the main website to carry out its functionality. This Meet is a online meeting space. We also have Drive that helps you store photos. We have photos.google.com, that is what you call Google Photos. So it helps you build extra functionalities for your website. Mind you, the main website is called google.com. So once you build a website, once you get the domain name, the next thing is you have to host it. So this is what you call a cPanel hosting site. As you can see, this is the cPanel hosting site for modern techies. So this is what is going to tell you that this is the hosting site for the modern techies. And on the right side, we have the statistics tab. What this means is the amount of data that this website can process is determined by the size of this hosting. As you can see, the size here is out of infinity. So this means it has like endless features that you can use. Once you buy like a cheap hosting that would cost you like around 3K, you get like limitations. Currently, I'm building a site for a client, and the physical memory what we have here was in MB. So I'm having such a hard time building the site because of the specifications of this cPanel. So this is what you call hosting, and where the files of the website are stored, they're stored in here. So I decided to carry out this presentation in a live manner so that you guys can follow and relate. As I go along, you guys can just relate and ask questions, and you can see it real time. So these are some of the subdomains the website has, all of this, and we also have like these folders, these files. So we are moving from the cPanel now to the builders. So builders are the platforms that help you build the website. So once you buy a cPanel, you'll realize that it has platforms that help you build the website. One of them is where are they? So they're here. One of them is WordPress. It's a very common builder that most people use. We have Joomla, we have Avanti, we have PHP BB, and so on and so forth. All of these can be used to build the website. So it depends on the specialty. There are developers who focus on a specific language, and others focus on a different language based on preferences and the necessities of the current task. So as you can see, so these are the ones that this cPanel provides. If you want extra, there are provisions for you to install them, and you can use them. So builders, we have what you call content management systems. Those are CMSs, and what you call hard-coded. So CMSs be things like WordPress, Joomla, Wix, Squarespace, etc. So what these builders do is they make web development easier. It's more of a drag and drop feature. So you come in there, you just drag and drop, things start functioning. Things that are hard-coded means that they purely run on scripts. That means just files on lines of codes. So those lines of codes are the ones that help manage the website, and also make the site actually runs on those languages. So as you can see, some of the things that I'm using here is PHP. My specialty is PHP and what we call .py. That stands for Python. And these are just the normal files when it comes to web design. So this is what a normal PHP language looks like. It has different categories, and codes are written for specific purposes, and so on and so forth. So I will not really go into the specific languages per se, but I just give you a brief overview of what is expected. So you use builders to build your website so that you can function on that specific, so that you can carry out that specific function. So once you've done your builder, the next thing that you do is you focus on something we call the optimization of the website. The optimization is basically how well it features when it comes to Google rankings, and how visible your site is, so that when somebody searches for it, what exactly do they get? So if I try searching for like our company, or the skills, so as you can see, you want to occupy the first page of Google as much as possible. So you want at least the first page of Google to be all yours, and so that you can corner the market, you drive traffic from the browsers to your specific wants and needs to your company, something of the sort. So this is what we call search engine optimization, and how well you feature in the tech space. Mind you, as you can see, we have around 6,000 results. And if you search for something more mainstream, something like modern, we'll have, this is 3 billion results. So you want, in the 3 billion space, you at least feature in the first page. This is going to help you in your marketing and also to generate clientele, so that at least your company can stay afloat. So after SEO, you have to ensure that your website is what you call mobile friendly. By mobile friendly is that means that your website at least functions well on a mobile device. So as you're going to see here, if I open my site, or rather if I open just the basic Google search, I right click, I come to the inspect elements. This is how you can check if a website or if a web page is mobile friendly. I click on this. You see, the toggle function reads that this is a toggle device toolbar. So if I click on that, this is how it functions on a. This is more of like a tablet. Let me reduce this space. So this is how it responds on a tablet device. If I click here, this is still a tablet. If I click here, this is a mobile phone size. So this is how it looks on a mobile phone. If I click here on a smaller mobile phone, at least you can see the text is responding to the size of the device. So you need your site to be as mobile friendly as possible. So you can use this function to determine if your site is mobile friendly. You can use this functionality to rotate your device and to see how it functions after you rotate it. So, and if you want a specific device, you can just come here, you choose something like iPhone X and see exactly how it will look from the user's point of view. Mind you, over 80% of the people nowadays use mobile phones to access their websites. So your website must be mobile friendly at all costs. So if I do the same for modern techies, so as you can see, it is responding. Just a minute. It is responding to the device. If I increase the size of the device to something, you see the layout changes, the menu bar changes. If I make it as small as possible, it's also changing accordingly. So you can check something of the sort. Yes. So that's about responsiveness of the device. The next thing when it comes to web design, you need to ensure that your site is foolproof. Foolproof in terms of security and the likes. So what does that mean? For every website, since it runs on a cPanel, if I choose any domain, for instance, lumia.co.ke, I write /cPanel. Yes, exactly. I write /cPanel. It's not supposed to take me to the cPanel login page, because nowadays hackers and people who are malicious on the internet use these cPanels to hack your website. They come collect your data. They also hold their website hostage so that they can ask for money. That's what we call ransomware, and so on and so forth. So you should make sure that your basic URLs are covered. Your site at least is responding to it has like what you call the SSL certificate. This one per se, at least the browser is reading it as connection is secure. I got a website today. It was okay. I saw a website today that didn't have that specific certificate, and you see what the browsers do. they just start telling you it's not secure. And mind you, this could be your website and you want to make money out of it. And then the first thing that Google, the browser says is that you should not enter any sensitive information on this site. For example, passwords or credit cards, etc. So it's going to drive clients away from you. So you need to ensure that at least you have the SSL certificate and you are at least not accessible to the hackers. Another thing, when it comes to web design, you need to ensure that your website is loading and booting up fast. So if I take this website and type it in this browser, you need to check the response time that it's taking to boot up the things. Within 5 seconds, you already have your content right there. Everything nicely done, it's right there. And the reason why all this has taken place, because when it comes to the development, the developers ensured that they didn't use like heavy scripts running the website. They used builders that are responsive and fast enough. They also tried and reduced what we call the CSS files, so that at least the website can function as fast as possible. And as you can see, some of the files are even loading from the back end. So this is going to bring like a positive image to the clientele, and it's going to motivate them so that they can at least make some interactions with it. They check on the features that you guys have. But if your website is slow, you're going to lose clientele in that sector. So let me check. I had planned my presentation to go to, yeah, it's already 7:30. So I will open this floor to some questions that you guys may be having. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I have a question on
Yeah.
on regards with the cPanel.
Okay, sure.
Maybe you can go through a process on how one can access a Postgres server,
Uh-huh.
a remote Postgres server on the cPanel.
A remote Postgres server.
Yes.
So first things first, this cPanel doesn't have that provision, but if you want to access, I can just give you a general overview on how you can access any server from this cPanel. So as you know that any server must be running on a specific terminal. So you need to ensure that the provider of this cPanel gives you at least a terminal. These cPanels are managed by something called a WHM. So I think I should open the, so that I can show you how to add the terminal to the cPanel and how you can use the terminal to access a different server elsewhere. So this is what we call a WHM, and this WHM is the one that manages the cPanel. So on this tab, this is where you can add features, and you see when it comes to adding packages and the sort, this is what manages the cPanel. You can add more features or remove more features of the cPanel. So make sure the cPanel at least has a terminal. So once it has a terminal, you go to you open the terminal, and then you type the what we call a shared IP to a specific server. You type the credentials of some sort. I have one server running. But I don't want to trigger it right now because it's actually being used by a client. But the server is supposed to enable the clients pay automatically for services with the M-Pesa real time, and then they respond. It's not a website, but it's a server that we use Laravel and Python to build the functionality of the site. So when it comes to running of the servers, you have to ensure that you have the terminal, you have the shared IP, and you also have the logins. From there, now you can trigger actions. That's basically like how you will do using the CMD prompt or Linux, something of the sort. But if you want to, like, if you have the servers somewhere, I think we can organize and show you on exactly how you can access it from the cPanel. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Next question.
Yeah, so hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so I have a question based on security, ensuring your site is secure. So,
Yeah, okay.
I don't know whether you have ever succumbed to things like cross-site scripting. Okay, for instance, you see when you're implementing an M-Pesa payment, wherever there's money involved, like,
okay,
as in what measures do you put up in place so that you don't have somebody check out a product or an item without having to pay? Like, maybe you can give us an overview of whatever you do to ensure that you don't encounter such ugly scenarios.
Okay, I understand what you're talking about. The good thing is that I have an M-Pesa API running on this cPanel. The bad thing is that I wouldn't really show you exactly how it's running, because like everything is on that file. But number one, the very basic security step is hiding your credentials, your username and password. That is the basic initial step to everything. Because once somebody has access to the cPanel, they will just come, modify the code, trigger a purchase of something that is worth maybe 10,000. Then they check it out. They confirm it as checked out in the database. You just come, activate it in the database. You say that the purchase has gone through. Please trigger an action. So all of a sudden, you have to deliver a product that was not really paid for, that is worth 10K, and you can't see the money. But the website is telling you that actually this person bought. So first things first, ensure that your credentials are safe. Secondly, configuration of the files. Just try, some files are so, yes, they're so accessible and so basic. For instance, any WordPress site, if you type anything that the domain /wp-admin, you start triggering a response that initiates you accessing the back end of the website. So what you need to do is block those kind of things. You see, like the Jumia did. Jumia.co.ke blocked the access to the cPanel. So that is how you need to start hiding your data. But if somebody has access to your cPanel, they might tend to do some malicious things, authorize payments, because from the back end it's really, really easy. Or they would even go to the back end, change the price, something that is worth 10K, they remove 3 zeros, now that is 10 shillings, they pay, then they say, but I bought it, I even have a receipt. So now you're all of a sudden you have a suit to follow, something of the sort, or you're just incurring losses. So just ensure that your credentials are well secured and they're not predictable. Just make things difficult for them to access. From there, you have a better chance of avoiding hackers and people who are malicious on these platforms.
Yeah.
Okay. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, you have answered. And also, maybe to add on something else. Yeah, so
okay.
I know you've heard of guys, web developers, saying that CSS, man, CSS isn't that, it's not that easy. Like as much as we have things like Bootstrap and SAS. So, like, do you use a framework like React or Angular in terms of front-end development? Because I can see you have a nice UI.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about CSS. Just with the basic side for the characters. CSS, for those who don't know CSS stands for Cascading Styling Sheets. I know that's a big word, but CSS is basically the appearance, how somebody presents himself, how you dress. Are you in a suit and tie? That is CSS. Are you in cargo pants and a vest? That is CSS. If you're maybe a lady, do you have makeup? Don't you have makeup? Your hair. Basically how you look. So if I come here, so as you can see, this is a button. This is a button. So if I click on this element, right? And then I create some space. As you can see, the background color is this color. So I can come here. I click on it. I change maybe to something of the sort. So basically, I've changed how it looks. I can decide to change the font. So maybe put something like 40 for no apparent reason. The font weight. I want to change the border radius. This is what you call the border radius. If I put something like 30, going to understand. So now you can see that this button looks all of a sudden. So this is what you call CSS. Basically how things appear. There, as you can see, this thing has a background overlay. So this color, we can change this background overlay. We can add more color to it so that you can boost the visibility of this text. We can reduce the color, something of the sort. So CSS is basically the appearance of a website. Actually, you hear some web developers saying, some will say that CSS is hard, it's difficult, etc. Yada yada yada. Others will say CSS is not even a programming language. They don't consider it as a programming language because it is basically the appearance. Like the way you look doesn't really determine who you are. You could be in short, but you're a very brilliant guy with very revolutionary ideas. So some would say it's not even a programming language. Others would say it is really hard. It depends with the user, but CSS is basically I've altered the CSS of this element. You could choose any other element, do the same. As you can see, this one has a hoover element attached to it. You just choose this. You can do this any day, anytime. What is happening is I am changing the elements of these things, but not really affecting the site. I'm only affecting it in the browser. Basically, if I give you like a poster, like a flyer, you can go decide to do anything you want with that flyer, but it doesn't really affect the actual business that was occurring in that flyer. So this is what exactly I'm doing. I'm not really editing the site. You can do this with any site, with any website, with any basically any website. So this is CSS. When you talk about things like Angular or React, this is how the elements are arranged in a website. As you can see, this is how these elements are arranged here. If I open something like Twitter or something like Facebook, so this one open first, this one hasn't opened. So you realize that in this site, most of the things are at the center. So as you can see, they're center aligned. We have space here, we have space here. But if it's something like Facebook, you realize that at the center we have what you call the feeds. At the side, I don't know if this is like friends or something. At the top bar, we have the menu, the messages, and everything. On this, the other right side, we have some other things. So that's the specific language being used for those things, especially things like interactive sites, Twitter, Tinder, Facebook. They do have those kind of functionalities whereby things are arranged differently for specific purposes. You have what we call a widget space area on this side or on this side for specific reasons, and then here at the center we just have feeds. So this is where you scroll at the middle, but these ones they be sticky. We call them sticky elements. So they're sticky, they only move as you scroll. So that's why these other languages come in for those specific purposes. Are we clear on that?
Yeah, I think that is clear. I think that is clear.
Okay.
And I also saw there was a question. So
okay.
somebody was asking, like, do you guys like take in other, like for instance in our group here we have guys who are skilled in maybe back-end development, or they are kind of a full stack developer, but they have not yet that advanced, but maybe intermediate. So like, do you guys consider some other like students to come and work with you guys? Because I see you're a company that do web development for guys.
Actually, this is the third time I'm getting this question today, because at the same time there was this company called ISEC that was asking the same thing: do we like take sorts of interns or other people so that we can mentor them and deal with them? Currently, we don't have that provision, but this being raised so oftenly is something that you're willing to consider, maybe starting from September. That's what I had the management discuss. Starting from September, that will be possible.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mr. Welcome. Another 1-2 more questions.
I don't know. I feel like I have another question.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah. So basically, I saw you said that the cPanel comes in with an M-Pesa package, right? Like,
no. Okay. Carry on.
Because I was trying to work on something, and we had built some library with somebody, like an M-Pesa library that can maybe takes the process, the Lipa na M-Pesa online process. Basically, that's what we catered for in the library. So like I was asking, because you see it kind of has some loopholes. That's why I'm not that confident about it. So like in the cPanel, can you configure like an M-Pesa add-on maybe, so that you can be monitoring like the transaction? Because I tried to create a database entry that will be recording the data that is sent from the Daraja API, the JSON data, the transaction ID, all those things. So maybe you can clarify about the M-Pesa add-on on the cPanel.
So as you understand, like M-Pesa API is basically a language you can use. If you open the developer, the Raja portal, if you open here, you just notice that these are just lines of codes in the documentation. Oh, this be different. I didn't leave it this way.
No, it changed.
Okay, so yeah. So this is the documentation. So as you can see, these are just lines of code, and what these do is they help you carry out this functionality on an online platform. So that being said, that means they have to be stored in a virtual server. So cPanel is one of the ways or places to store this data. The reason why people choose cPanels is because probably the people doing this business, more or less, they already have a website. So they are just like, yeah, you just create some space, move things aside, you create space for this API to run. Alternatively, if you want to choose a different place apart from a cPanel, we can use something like a VPS, a different platform. I had bought a VPS last month. I don't know if it has expired. You can store some. Is it devotion? I can't really recall, but you can store it in a VPS. But cPanels be secure in their native ways. They be secure. But if you are reckless or your password is predictable, people can brute force. They can just write scripts to access your cPanels, and then they can start manipulating your data. So they're already functional, and they can deliver the assigned task. You see, like here, I'm running a certain API, and as you can see, it is depleting all my server resources. This is the kind of script that has been giving me a hard time so far, so on, but it is constantly running. The whole script, the whole Daraja API thing is already inside here. Uh, so yeah, the whole M-Pesa code is inside here. It's running on a cPanel very well. If you do a specific action, it's going to react accordingly. All the data goes to this database. All this data goes to this data. It's going to load, but everything is okay. But remember, if you're running any API, the most important thing, it has to be this is the database for all that data. I don't know what's hanging. Maybe it's the machine. So you guys can have a look. As you can see, this is the whole M-Pesa thingy, and these are the specific transactions that we were trying out, and so on and so forth. These are the M-Pesa transaction code. So they are all being run and being carried out in this cPanel. So the cPanel is going to deliver the work, but if your major concern is security, you just have to learn on how to really just focus on building a more secure thing. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay. Another question? One more question?
Hello, I have
Hey.
a question. Yeah.
Okay, please go.
Yeah, my question is because you have opened that Daraja, and then you have your cPanel on the other side.
Okay.
So is it like the way you are fetching? Are you using fetching API so that you can fetch whatever code is on the other side to your cPanel, or you just copy the code and then you paste it on the other end?
What really happens is I come here, I copy this API, I paste this at the end, and then I edit it to fit my functionality. But the main core components, the code, I won't change them because it has to be fetching things in the M-Pesa servers for the right information. As you know, that one does not belong to anyone else but Safaricom. They're the only ones authorized to do that. So you copy the code there, you configure it, it goes, fetches the information from the M-Pesa servers, it responds accordingly, the implement has been triggered, and then now it functions according to the way you customize the edit and give the person a response. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
So,
Yeah, Charles, I don't know whether maybe to just a parting shot or the last
Okay,
thing
okay.
that I could ask. So I don't know how your journey has been as a web developer, because you see, as a web developer,
Yeah.
you might learn the skills, but you see, getting gigs is one thing that is really tough. Like, you might end up maybe doing your own things. You build your portfolio page. You think of a startup to do. Like, how was your journey? As in, how did things work for you till you reach this point? As in, where you're now, like, you're working as a web developer. Yeah, maybe you can just give us a sneak peek of how the journey has been.
So my journey as a web developer will vary from any other web developer, but I just give you the general perception or the general view when it comes to web development and the career opportunities out there. So some people do start out, they go study the language, the skill, then they build their own portfolio, they start their own gigs. That way you realize that it's super hard for you to get clients. So what other people do is they benchmark with already set up institutions. Some of them include things like Safaricom. So you go to Safaricom, ask for a job there, work with them, or other web developers. You partner up, you say, like, we are web developers, let's partner up, we combine skills, let's work together. And that's how you start building your clientele and your gig. One thing you have to understand, if you take the entrepreneurial route, things will not be as easy as probably you anticipate. You might end up, I have spent so many months looking for clients, and once I get a good client, is able to service me like for a year or two. So it is always like a journey, but the more you continue, the more better things become. The more you're able to like get sustainable clients. The more you're able to get even gigs. I know some people who are web developers. They don't really they're not really employed by people, but people subcontract them. You come, they ask for jobs, you give them jobs, and then they be working on the website and they're on a monthly salary. So if you do that for 3 to 4 websites, you realize that they have a good solid foundation financially and it can work for them. I know there is a friend of mine who actually studied and perfected the React language. And just like that, some Australian firm came, saw the skill on the guy, they gave him a job. That guy now pockets around, I think, 7,000 USD, some solid cash. This guy is just an enthusiast who likes doing whatever he does. And then people find, once you do something that is rare, you'll always be guaranteed that people will always come your way. Because every day, people are trying to build their website, build their businesses and take them to the online space. So there's a very big chance of you succeeding in this career. That the jobs be so many, and you're going to love the journey once you start meeting with other developers, start sharing ideas, you start realizing that the things that you did, there are better ways to do it, there are faster ways to implement the same actions, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. So I think you guys, I'm going to leave the meeting because I'm somewhere in an office and I still have to go home. So if any of you has any questions, you can contact me. Let me share my number. I can't see my screen. I can't see the. Okay, maybe it's here. Yeah, it's here. Who is the comment section? I can drop my number here. 45. So what you guys can do, you can just WhatsApp me. I prefer WhatsApp. Text me any question that you have, any suggestion, any idea, any stories you want to give me. Just WhatsApp me, drop me a message, and we'll get back to you guys. Is that okay?
Yes,
Perfect.
it's okay.
Okay. So good night, guys. Bye bye. It was a pleasure.
Good night.
Okay, thank you very much, Commander. Good night.
Appreciate.
Okay. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this kind of approach?